Hey there, hi there, oh there. It's day 2 of World Watercolor Month, and this is what I have drawn out so far. Remember, I'm trying to make 7 watercolor painting for cards for my grandmother who wants stationery for her 89th birthday. These are the supplies I've got. I've got these sponges. I think they will help for making clouds. And I've got these specialty brushes that should help me make grasses. And I'm following this Terry Morrison's watercolor flowers book. And these are all supplies he suggested. So let me get started. Oh, and I added the masking fluid with these fine liner bottles. Although it's a different brand of masking fluid that I've chose to use, and the paint that I use, I like core paint, and so that's what I'll be using, and maybe some other cheaper craft paint, watercolor, of course. Okay, this is where I am after my paper is dry. And it does look like I'm gonna need to add a bit more vibrancy in this area on the right. So let me add this pink over here, and hopefully that will help it look a lot more vibrant. And this is wet on dry. I'm going over this now dried paint with. I'm going over this now dried paint with wet paint, but the paper is dry. So that's what the difference between it wet on wet, what I was doing before, and this is wet on dry. I don't know why I'm not grabbing my my actual reference. That will probably make this a lot easier, but then again, it will make it a lot less original as well. And I think I would like to add, this is the palette that I'm dealing with, and this is the color that I'm using right here. These are the 2 yellows I use, and I use a little bit of this purple, and I accidentally mixed it in with the pink. So that's why we're getting some brown looking things up here. I think this pink is not the color I was wanting. So I'm going to add, this is the classic palette, and I think I'm going to add. I do not have what I thought I had in here. I must have put everything out of there. So I don't not have a brighter pink like I thought I did. I thought it would have like a neon pink, but I don't see that anywhere. And I do I'm not sure what I would have done with that. So let's just keep using this. Or should I add some of this red? Let's see. Is this a pink or a red? I can't tell. This is a red. Definitely a red. Yeah, that's red. So let me see what happens if I add a tiny bit of red to this pink. Okay, I've tried both of these colors, and this is a much it's closer to pink than this first one. A nice cool red, and this is more of a neutral red. So this is nice cool toned red. I cannot find any of my syringes, and I have so many that will be helpful right now. I don't see any. Using a little baby syringe is what I like to use to mix my paint better. See, now I'm taking from here. And I'm going to add a drop of that to here. I don't know if that's what I like. And I would like to add more water. And I know this is when I would normally use our syringes to add water here. I think I'm going to take a little bit of this, put it in here. I don't think that's working. I think the best thing will be to use this color and water it down quite a bit rather than trying to mix a color. I don't know how people mix colors without a syringe. Okay, got my syringe. It's a very tiny syringe. It only holds 1 milliliter. And with this, I can precisely measure out how much water I'm using. And I don't like either of these colors, so I'm just going to use my rag to get rid of them. And they are gone. And start over. 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, I've got water in both, but that'll be just fine because I can have more than one reddish pink. And since we know that this is too chalky, in my opinion, we're just gonna go with this. I think it's called amaranth red. I always like to label my products, and I'm pretty sure this is Arteza. Yes, amaranth. I think that's how you pronounce it, amaranth red. And this is definitely Arteza, even though I did not mark it on here. The palettes are shaped differently, so that's how I can tell that they're not which brand they're from. And this is definitely an Arteza palette. And you hear that snap? When you snap it in, your paint doesn't move, doesn't just slide out all around. And at least, if you snap it on well, make sure they're all snapped in well. Okay, now let me grab this red and put a drop of water to wake up the paint. And I like to just roll my brush around. I think that's the best way to collect paint. Keep your, because A, it keeps your brush straight, and B, I think it's better for the palette, because it's a silly thing to care about, but I don't like it when my palette looks messy. This is not enough pigment, so I'm going to add more pigment to my pan, to my mixture. And I'm going to paint just a little bit every time I pick up my brush. Okay, this is very, very liquidy, and I definitely do not want a lot of red down here. And we know this should be okay. because I'm planning to paint some purple flowers down here. That's what this is. This is what this is going to be when I remove the masking fluid and tape. I plan for it to be flowers. I still think this is a little bit too weak of a color, so I'm going to add more red. Hopefully give it some more pigment. I feel very comfortable with paint. I don't really feel worried or scared that I don't understand how watercolor works. I know some people have issues with watercolor, but with me right now, I'm fairly stressed about, maybe not stressed, where I feel like I need to improve isn't with understanding the watercolor itself, is more with drawing and composition. And that's where I'm hoping to improve. And I know for sure if this is watercolor, this is going to dry a lot lighter. There we go. And I know that clouds are not, what is the word I'm looking for? I can't find it. And I'm trying to remember if clouds are darker on the bottom or are they darker at the top. I don't remember. So hold on, I'm gonna look at a reference photo of some clouds. Okay, there doesn't seem to be a hard and fast rule when it comes to clouds about whether they're darker on the top or the bottom. So I'm just gonna use my imagination, I suppose. Yeah, take a little bit of this orange. Put it in here. Oh, that's a lovely color, isn't it? Let's add some water. Thin it out. And this is still a little wet, so hopefully it'll blend it nicely. Oh, that is blending nicely. I like that. This is on my lap, so this is moving a bit more than I would have liked it to. I'm gonna add a tiny bit of orange, just going up over all these clouds. Maybe add a lighter orange as I keep going. You know, towards the top of the clouds. Maybe if I add a little that'll look kind of cool. I don't know. Remember, this is mostly an experimentation kind of month, and I'm just trying to learn as much as I can in this month. So everywhere I see this pink, I'm gonna add a little bit of orange just on top and try to come back with the very a brighter I think I'm going to come back with this pastel pink. I think that'll work. And I'm gonna go ahead and mix a little bit of these two. I think that'll be nice. And I'll put that at the bottom here. I think that'll work. Yeah, I think that kind of works. What do you think? Where else should I add this little mixture of red and I'm seeing this dab is a good motion to try to make clouds. It looks a bit cloud-like, at least to me it does. So what do you think of my first sunset so far? I think it's going okay. I think I just want to fill out this part a bit more. And add a bit of this mixed just here and there. This is a mixture of the orange and blue. I'm sorry, not orange and blue. The orange and the red. Maybe I'll add a tiny bit more red and pour some water to certain spots so it'll look a little darker. Oh, I put that in the wrong spot, but it'll be okay. And I'm sure you see me I don't know if you can tell that I'm not mixing my paint, rinsing my brush in between every single trip when I'm going between colors. With watercolor, it matters, but it doesn't, because I could wipe off the top layer of paint really easy. And with watercolor, what really matters is how quickly you get the paint on the page. And I don't want to miss an opportunity to get paint on the page. If I'm trying to get 3 layers of color, and I want the very dark, the darkest red on the bottom. I really wish I had a good pink, like a good, I have those, but those are pretty opaque. I really like a good opaque, like a nice opaque hot pink. This is pretty nice, but it's not. It's definitely more red than I like right about now. And I'm just trying to figure things out as I go, as I'm sure you can see. And I think tomorrow I will change the camera position so it'll probably look a lot better. Instead of having it vertical, I think I'll do it horizontal for the rest of watercolor week. Not watercolor week, watercolor month. I think I just didn't realize how long I would want to paint tonight. Oh, and it is 11:55. I am not getting this video out before midnight, like I hoped. son said it was supposed to be pink and yellow, and that was it. But somehow I got so much red in here, and I'm trying to balance that red out a bit more, so it's not so very red, and then when it's meant to be pink. So I'm gonna go in here and try to add a little bit more pink, so it's not so reddy orange. So that is what I'm doing right now. Yeah. I kept trying to move the entire thing when I should have been trying to move my book instead of the sorry, instead of my tripod or selfie stick, whatever this is properly called. And now I think I can go back in with some of my yellows. Okay, clean. That's why I have two water bottles, well, water, whatever this is, water thingies. I feel like this is way too, this color I just put in is way too thick. It needs more water. Here we go. That's what I wanted. More of a, I wanted watercolor to do the watercolor thing that I love about it so much. So I'll put a little bit of water down here. And then I'll add the paint. And hopefully it'll do the thing that watercolors is known for. Why we love it as watercolor people. And every time I add some more water, add some more paint, I'll add a little bit more water. Oops, that's way too much. That's why I had this. You have watercolor, you always want to make sure you have a rag. And just doing that, I think, made a huge difference. And I like how it's coming out with just a little bit of water, a more watery mixture. I'm really enjoying that, and hopefully that'll work out like I would really want it to. And you know, I can kind of see where I'm going with this painting, but I'm just not skilled enough to actually bring everything in my mind out loud, I guess it might be the proper term. So I'm still figuring everything out quite a bit. Now I just mixed these last two yellows, and I'm going to add a little bit of water to this. This is 1 drop, and there we go. And this should be my last mixture. my last time fiddling with this here, these clouds here. Yeah, that look kind of like that. Yeah, that works. Yeah, I think I'm not positive, but I think I'm getting closer to figuring out how they make the clouds look like they're glowing. I don't know, but like I said, this is my first time trying to paint clouds. So if anybody has tips, I would gladly love to learn as much as I possibly can, because I really do enjoy watercolor immensely. But I haven't had formal lessons like I would truly enjoy. I think, at least I'm pretty sure I would enjoy formal lessons. Oh, what is that? It looks like a little too much green was in that. Don't know what that could have came from. Is it just me, or did you see that green too? I didn't care for it. And I'm gonna go this little bright. Just trying to touch it up with this brightness. Every couple of spaces. Um, Watercolor is such a interesting media. I know a lot of people say they really struggle with it, but I haven't really had that issue. It's one of the only things that, one of a few things that I feel like I picked up fairly easily. And if I had lessons, I think I'd be able to be a lot better. Because, this is clearly not great. I'm struggling quite a bit. But I know if I had some good, and so if I had some a nice instruction, I feel like I'd be able to pick it up pretty a lot better. And I think this is at the point where it's it's where they say the word overworked, and I think that's where I am now. So I'm going to go ahead and stop. Maybe just a little bit around here. Maybe that'll help it look a little bit more glowy when I remove the masking fluid. But I'm going to call the sky done. And we can move on to the grass.